paralyzed. My knees buckle. I can't move. I mean, it is a kind of fear that you can't explain away.
Fear, stress, and anxiety can all make or break us, which is why in today's episode we explore a wearable device that is changing lives for people from all walks of life, and we see what happened when it was applied to a 40-year-old phobia. This episode is not to be missed. Suffering from depression and getting no answers, I packed up my life and went on a 90-day mission to find help from the world's top biohackers, neuroscientists, and doctors. And now I'm here to help you biohack your mind and body for success. Welcome to Becoming Unstoppable, lifestyle hacks for your body, mind, and business. How we deal with fear, phobia, and stress not only impacts us in the moment, it can have a lasting impact on our behaviour for the rest of our lives, often outside of conscious awareness. Which is why, for my new book Unstoppable, I chose to look outside of the usual treatments for stress and trauma to find a hack that speeds up results. In my research, I came across a wearable device called Touchpoints. Touchpoints are two watch-type devices that you can wear on each wrist. They use what is called bilateral alternating stimulation tactile blast technology, which provides gentle haptic micro-vibrations that interfere with your body's stress response. To test their effectiveness, I not only experimented with them personally, I also had a close friend, Trish, apply them to a 40-year-old phobia. We documented her experience firsthand and reached out to the creator of Touchpoints to learn more. Full disclosure, this video is not sponsored or endorsed by Touchpoints. Let's hear from Trish now and follow her on her journey as she faces her fears head on.
First of all, I didn't know there was such a thing as, I can't even say it, thalassophobia. I just thought I was crazy. I thought there was something seriously wrong with me, that I was so terrified of dark water, of big open water, of ships, the underside of ships, a ship next to a dock. I mean, there were so many things that had to do with water and big water and water travel that terrified me. When we sat down with the Touchpoints, when you first put them on, and I started looking at the different pictures. For instance, the John movie poster, or even that famous picture of the whale in the scuba diver touching in the water. You couldn't look at it in the beginning. Made me sweaty, made me shaky, made me visibly nervous and uncomfortable. But then as I kept looking at it, I started realizing that, wait a minute, that's just a whale in the water. I mean, it was like a light switch went on. I wanted to go down to Channelside. I'd had a previous experience there many years ago where I was supposed to do a chamber event for the company I worked for. And when I pulled up to the Port Authority, I couldn't get out of my car. I had to call my boss and tell him, you have to give this to somebody else because I can't do it. And I actually lost income on that. And I felt pretty confident considering the work we had done, until I went up the stairs and turned the corner and saw the bow of the ship. Again, that same fear came over me, of the knee buckling fear, where I thought I couldn't focus on anything, I couldn't concentrate. I was terrified. You asked me to think of something that my husband said or did that would make me laugh, that I thought was funny. I couldn't even remember that I had a husband at that moment.
What's the funniest thing Rick's ever done? Rick. What's the funniest or dumbest thing he's ever done?
The Wheezy song. She was whimpering in the car.
Started humming this song that Rick had done with our dog, just playing around with our dog, and it made me laugh and kind of helped me get through that moment right there.
Come on, sing the song.
To help Trish short-circuit this phobia for good, we also applied what is known as a pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt disrupts a certain behaviour from continuing while that pattern is being played out in real time. The pattern interrupt we applied was to have Trish sing a song that causes her to laugh.
Yeah, I don't want to be this person anymore.
Do you realise you're kind of not this person anymore? Do you understand how close you
my
are?
God.
No, literally, you're not that person anymore, right?
All of a sudden, I look over and I'm like, wait, that's just the bow of the ship. I saw another ship that was right at the dock. Not only right at the dock, but it was out of the water enough that I could see the propeller on the back of it, which was terrifying to me. And I thought, now I have to go down there. I have to get right next to that, and I have to touch it.
No, I can't. I can't. Can I?
Yeah, of course you can.
I can?
Yeah.
What if I fall? This
You're
is how
not.
it
You're not
happens.
gonna fall. Just put one foot up there,
I'm
so
not
you're
gonna
strong.
put it there.
Or if you put your feet under that hole.
I did it.
Probably one of the greatest accomplishments of my life to be able to do that. To be able to overcome a fear that I had had for almost 40 years. Since I worked with the Touchpoints and I was able to put my hand on that ship, I have actually went into the water with everybody else, literally up to my shoulders. I mean, when I talk about traumatic experiences growing up, it was probably more than most people would imagine. And you always feel kind of a prisoner of that. Like it's always something in your head that you think about. And I think this has really helped me not be a prisoner of that any longer. I feel free from it. So that to me is greater actually than being able to go to the beach and get in the water. To be able to do that, to be able to face people that may have caused you some stress or trauma in your life and not have any type of attachment, or them not to have any power over the way I feel, has been probably the greatest gift of the Touchpoints over anything else, more than anything.
How is
No, right?
3 years ago, my biological daughter, who was 4 at the time, was having terrible night terrors. And I happened to tell one of my wonderful friends, who was a mom, but also a neuropsychologist, Dr. Amy Sarin. And I put what would later become the Touchpoints in my daughter's hands during the middle of a heinous night terror. And she went straight to sleep, and she woke up happy the next day. When you feel stressed out, your body gets all this information, and you have to decide, what are you going to do with the information? And what happens in the majority of us is that our fight or flight response kicks in. And this is also called our sympathetic nervous system. Now, the sympathetic nervous system engages your fight or flight, which first of all makes you feel sick. And as a society, we don't give stress the credit it deserves for wreaking havoc on your life. Because when you're stressed out, you don't even realize my chest hurts, my shoulders are holding tension, my head hurts. You basically just think that that's something you have to deal with. But when you turn your fight or flight mechanism off, you automatically get this huge release in the body's, these physiological pieces. So when you have the Touchpoints on, first and foremost, your body sensations reduce. The second thing is your body flips from the fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system, into the parasympathetic nervous system. So now, instead of thinking about things from this emotional lens, you're looking at them very logically, and therefore they don't seem that stressful. And the third thing is that this combination of no body sensation, logically thinking, actually creates new papers in the filing cabinet of your brain. So the way that I look at it, and I explain the analogy, is your brain's a filing cabinet. All these files have these events labeled on them, and the papers in your file have been negative ones. But now you're building new positive to neutral papers, and your brain will always pull the new papers first. You don't have to be in a stressful situation to engage your fight or flight. If you just think about, public speaking, your fight or flight's naturally engaging. So when you're in a therapy session and you're telling the therapist, well, this is what happened yesterday, my husband and I had a big fight, or whatever the case may be, your fight or flight is engaging just by talking about it, which is not necessarily beneficial. So what we've seen therapists do is they actually incorporate it within talk therapy. I had a wonderful story. He's involved in the Tourettes Association, but he told me that his daughter had really bad tics and Tourette's, and he started using them and hasn't had any issues. I had with his daughter actually stop the tics. This is why we do what we do. And I wish I could tell you oh, that's an anomaly, but we get these stories every day. Because of my background with my kids, I wanted every foster kid in America and in the world to be able to have access to this technology. So we have a scholarship program where we give them away every month to people that can't financially afford them.
My biggest takeaway from this experiment was that there are now easier ways to deal with stress based on new research. Instead of just having to relive that traumatic experiment by talking about it, which can potentially re-traumatize an individual. Now, if you'd love to learn more and you'd love to have more energy, increase your focus and boost your productivity, head over to areyouunstoppable.com to find out which identity type you are based on your biochemistry and psychology, and get personalized recommendations for what you can do to become unstoppable in your own life. And answer this question in the comments below. How have you dealt with stress in the past? I'd love to know. In the meantime, have a great week, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Take care.